This is going to be a walkthrough of Packet Tracer 2.5.5. Just wanted to show you guys this thing, and if you've already done it, then you don't need this, but if you haven't already done it, then it might come in handy. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat this morning. Okay, so first things first, we're going to start up our Packet Tracer eventually. And give it a minute. Excuse me. Okay, so I need to resize this window. Okay, that's a little better. Hopefully you can see all the stuff we've got going on here. Okay, so, excuse me, we're presented with a network that's already connected. And let's take a look at our instructions. I'm going to just put these over here. Okay, so let's see, we've got switch 1, switch 2, and so it looks like it wants us to start out with switch 1. Okay, that makes sense. So let's click on switch 1, and okay, switch 1 is up and running. Yay. Okay, now it says here we're supposed to, okay, go into exec mode. Okay, show run. Okay, and then answer the following questions. How many fast Ethernet switches does the switch have? Well, I just happen to know that there are 24 altogether. 24 fast Ethernet, 2 gigabit Ethernet, and what is the range of values shown for the VTY lines? Well, it looks like we've got 2. We've got 0 through 4, and then 5 through 15. But we can address all these and just say 0 through 15. So a total of 16. Excuse me. Okay, the next thing, which command will display the current contents of non-volatile memory? Okay, so that would be show startup. So if we type in show start, okay, startup config is not present. Well, the reason the startup config is not present is because we have not written it yet. Okay, so the next thing we're supposed to do, config terminal. Host name S1. Okay, what this will do is change the name of our switch to S1. Okay, and then exit. All right, config T again. All right, now then, line con 0. Okay, so your console port, the serial console port that you'll have to use in some of these labs is console 0. So we're going to type in line con 0. All right, now it says it wants us to have a password of let me in. Okay, now when you type in these passwords, make sure you remember what you typed, because it'll let you type in anything basically. There's not any what do you call it, like special characters or numbers or any of that kind of stuff that a lot of systems use. Okay, now we've established a password, but now we need to give this command, login. That means that this password is going to be used for logins. Okay, and then exit. Okay, why is the login command required? Well, if you just type in password let me in and then don't type login, then it'll say, okay, well, password is let me in, but it doesn't apply it to the login. So you have to put the login there to basically to activate the password. All right, let's see. Exit again. And exit. Okay, now we have exited out of the console. So now we're gonna, yep, whenever we hit return, now we have to type in this password. Okay, let me in. Lets us back in. All right, now what's the next thing on our list? Okay, it says enable, config T, enable password. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to put a password in place to prevent people from being able to enter privileged executive mode. So if they know the password let me in, they can get into the device and they can do some basic stuff, but they're not going to be able to enter privileged executive mode. Okay, so enable password C1 $. Whoops. CO. Is that right? C1 $CO? Exit. Okay, so from now on, when we type in enable, then we're going to have to remember that password. Okay, so now we got to have the password to get into the console. Let me in. Okay, now we're supposed to enable password C1 $CO. Okay, good. Now show run. Okay, now check it out. Our host name is now S1. Our enable password is C1 $CO. Oh crud, I was supposed to use a $sign. Okay, if I don't use a $sign, I'll get dinged on my final grade. Okay, so what it wants you to notice is that the password is in plain text. And down here where we've got the line con 0, password is let me in. So anybody that's able to get into this and do a show run, they're going to see these passwords as plain text. Okay, now config T. All right, now we're going to enable password again, but this time we're going to do it a little differently. Enable secret. Oh, yep. Okay, enable secret. It's a secret. Okay, I think I typed that right. Exit. All right, now if we do a show run again, now we're going to see that we've got an enable password of C1 $CO, but we've got a secret password of this. It's encrypted, so people that just look at this, they won't be able to see what we're doing. Okay, so let's see. And our console password is still in plain text. All right, but now we're going to do something that's going to change all that. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start up a service. Service, password, encryption. Okay. All right, now that we've done that, and we go back and do a show run. Okay, now look at all our passwords. Everything is now encrypted. Now, can somebody break this encryption if they know a little bit about Cisco devices? Maybe. But it's going to take them some effort. You know, they're not going to be able to just read it right off the bat. Okay, if you configure any more passwords on the switch, will they be displayed as plain text or encrypted? They're all going to be encrypted because now we've got password encryption service running. Okay, now it wants us to put up a banner message of the day. All right, config T, banner, MOTD. Now, ordinarily, I just put something like JL's router keep out or something along those lines. But this wants us to type in something specific. Okay, so we have to type this exactly or else we won't get full points on our assignment. This is a secure system, authorized access only. Exit. All right, now, when this banner will be displayed, well, that's going to be every time somebody tries to access this switch. So if we exit, okay, press return to get started. Okay, this is a secure system, authorized access only. Every switch and every router should have one of these banners because that way, it's like a liability thing. If somebody hacks into your switch, then they can say, well, it didn't say that it was authorized access only, so I thought anybody could use it. And I just typed the password, let me in. Okay, now we're supposed to be saving these files to NVRAM, non-volatile memory. Okay, so what we're going to do, criminies. Okay, password is it's a secret. All right, copy run, start. Or you could use the command write mem. Now you'll notice sometimes whenever I'm typing these commands, I just kind of shortcut them. Your shortcut capability is limited. You can't just type in like copy RS. That probably won't work. But if you copy, you can type the whole thing. You can say copy running config, startup config, and the destination file name is always a default of startup config. Okay, now if we do a show start, okay, see now we've got a startup config written that looks exactly like our running config. Hang on. Okay, so right here it shows you how many bytes of non-volatile RAM you're using, which looks like 1258. It's not many, right? Because this is just a text file. Excuse me. What is the shortest abbreviated version of copy run start? I think it's like copy RUSTA. But we could experiment around and find out. Because right off the bat, I don't remember. Are all the changes recorded in the file? Why, yes, they are. Don't forget to answer these questions as you're going along. The easiest way is just to copy this whole thing and paste it into a Word document, and then you can follow along the instructions and type answers as you're going. That's what I usually do. All right, now then, what are we supposed to do? All right, so now we're supposed to configure S2. All right, so let's close this window. All right, and what do our instructions say? Because we have to follow the instructions or else we won't get full credit for the lab. Okay. All right, so device name, let's see, enable, T, okay, host name, S2. Okay, got that done. Protect that, and okay, so let me in password. line con 0. Okay, password. Let me in, log in, and if you need to, you can scroll back up because we're basically going to do the same stuff that we did before. You can scroll back up and, you know, find which commands you need to be using. Log in, exit. So we're back to config instead of config line. All right, enable C1 dollar, whoops, CO. All right, enable secret. It's a secret. Configure an appropriate message. Crud. I don't know if we're supposed to use that exact same message again, but just in case, let's go ahead and do that. I used to be a really fast typist, but my skills have been flagging lately. Okay, encrypt all plain text passwords. Service password encrypt. Okay, that should do the trick. All right, now, let's see. Show run. And hopefully, like, we've got all of our passwords encrypted. We've got our host name set to, okay, we've got our banner MOTD. LineCon 0 has an encrypted password. Okay, now, last thing, we got to copy, run, start. Okay, you can also do this. Okay, it does the same thing. And now we can do a show start. All right, so now we have a startup configuration. See, if you go through, like, say for example, you're working on a switch and you go through all the hassle of setting everything up, and you've got your IP addresses and you've got your gateway address and everything's looking good, and then all of a sudden somebody comes along and kicks the power plug out of the wall, well, then you're going to lose all your work if you haven't written to your non-volatile memory. So if you forget to do the copy run, if you forget to do this, then when that switch power cycles, it's going to go right back to its factory configuration. You're going to lose all your work. And that has happened to me more than once. Okay, so I think we've got everything completed. Let's check. I think we did mess up one thing. Check results. Yeah, sure enough. See right here where it has enable password? Okay, whenever I typed in the enable password, I typed it in incorrectly. And so we got dinged for that. Now, I could go back and fix that, but for purposes of our, hang on, let me move this over. Okay, I could go back and fix that, and I'll show you how to do that easily. Let me close this. All right, let's go back to S1. Okay. All right, so here we are at our configuration. Okay, enable password C1 $C0. copy run start. Okay, now let's go back to our check results. Okay, cool. So we did manage to fix our enable password. Now let's go to S2 and do the same thing. Close this. Okay, and S2. C1 $C0. See, these labs are really picky. They want you to do exactly the thing, or else they won't give you full credit. Of course, you know, if you've got some nitpicking thing that's giving you fits, you know, it might be worth it just to. Okay, now it's loving us. Okay, so we got the enable passwords correct. We got our login passwords correct. We got green checks all the way down. We got 72 out of 72. So it looks like we have completed this lab with some difficulty, which was totally my fault because I misread the 0 as an O. So sometimes just a little tiny thing like that can throw you off. Anyways, okay, now that we've got this done, what we're going to do is use Snip and Sketch. And eventually. All right, now I'm going to cut this thing here. Not really cut, copy. Okay, here it goes. Okay, so I've got this. Now I'm going to save this as a JPEG. This poor computer is getting beat up. I've got so many. Okay, and I'm just going to save this somewhere. I'll save it to my downloads. And I didn't even rename it. I could have named it like Packet Tracer 2.5.5. Okay, so now I'm going to just exit out of this. I'm going to save as 2.5.5 Packet Tracer .pka. Save that. Okay, and now I'm going to upload both of those files. I'm going to upload the PKA and the JPEG to Canvas. Okay, so golly, okay, every time I do one of these videos, it winds up being long. I'm going to go back in and see if there's some things I can cut out to make it a little bit shorter. All right, but anyways, that's Packet Tracer 2.5.5, and if you just follow the instructions and make sure you type everything in exactly, then you should be able to get 100 on this thing without any problem. All right, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.